What is going on, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night. It's St. Patrick's Day. It's time to talk some comics, news, reviews, all that good stuff. And since last week we just did the Dune special, we have 2 weeks of stuff to catch up on. There's a lot of good stuff to break down, and we'll do that right after this. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Mark.
Nailed it. What is going on? We got Sector 2015 here. As always, we got a lot to get into tonight, man. A lot. Definitely got a lot. But first, why would you ask? Of course you can. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean you can't go to the bathroom. Oh, gosh. Let's get into it. First off, I do want to make sure I just give a big shout out to Big Time Collectibles. Check them out on their website. Follow them on social media. They've always got some fantastic stuff going on. And with con season coming up, expect some amazing covers. I do want to point out the Transformers issue number 7 exclusive went live today at 3 p.m. John Jang's second time doing an Optimus Prime cover. It's beautiful. It's glorious. Even with the trade dress, like with the blue and the yellow crash, it is absolute banger of a cover. It makes me want to update this. I haven't updated that. I need to put some new like pictures up there, new covers and stuff.
And he is doing something special if you do the signature series, right?
Yeah, like you could get the remark option on there as well. Is that what you mean?
But isn't he writing something, like to something or all or whatever, some sort of
one
to all? Yeah, on each one that he signs.
Something. I don't know. I did see that quote on the cover. I didn't know what's up with it. I didn't read that far into it. I just got the set.
You should start John Jang, and you're like, bye.
Yeah. Luckily, he'll be at Heroes Con this year. So if you're a John Jang fan, I know countless people are going to Heroes Con from this community. So if you're a John Jang fan, be sure to pick some of your favorites out to get signed when you get to meet the man himself. All right. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, Justin can hook it up. Be sure to let him know you found him via the channel. His direct link is in the description of all my videos. Huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games. All the books that I'll be reviewing tonight were purchased from ABX Comics and Games right here. So if you're looking to get into the comic hobby or tabletop gaming hobby, they have a great Facebook group that you can discuss and have questions answered, all that good stuff. It's linked in all my videos as well. And speaking of Heroes Con, this year I will be at Heroes Con, not just as an attendee, but we will have a booth set up. Myself, DJ Links, and Rob Swatsacks of Comicx will be there representing Comics Curing Cancer. We'll be at booth number 1769, pretty much dead center of the floor. Be sure to come by as we'll have some special stuff for that event. And let me get this real quick. Golly, that just reminded me.
Yeah, you have a special thing about Comics Curing Cancer, right?
Yeah. Let me see. So many things in here. That's the one. So yeah, we'll be there with exclusive stuff for that event that we'll announce at a later date. But tonight, for all those in the chat, this right here, the Austin LeMay Spider-Man print, it's limited to 50. This will be being sold at King Con 5 in New Jersey coming up soon. But because we know everyone can't make it there, where DJ gave one away on Friday, Rob gave away one yesterday, and we'll be giving one away tonight to somebody in the live chat. Now, these are the artist proofs. We had some artist proofs done to make sure they were good to roll, good to go. So we'll be giving one of those away later on during the show to one lucky winner. Again, it's an artist proof, so it's not in the 50 run. They're like cut just slightly different, whatever. It has an imperfection to it kind of thing. It looks normal if you put it in a frame. You won't even notice something's off with it. But we do want to just be transparent about that. Well, yeah. It's that print there.
Yep.
So what else is there? Also, lastly, I do want to point out that the Comics Curing Cancer event is live now. We already had our first big donation come in from an anonymous donor of $5,000. So big shout out to you-know-who out there. And it's well underway. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. So be sure to hit that QR code to keep up with all the details. You can donate today if you want. Talk to your employers about any kind of contributions they might want to do, stuff like that. That's a good little outlet to check in on, which I'll be doing here soon myself. I think that they don't really have big pockets like that, but anything's better than nothing. And getting the word out and spreading word and awareness is the best thing you can possibly do. The only way that this grows is with all of us as a community and with all of us sharing it out to new people who don't know about it. So let me get over here. So say hey to some people in the chat. Then we get rocking and rolling. A lot of stuff going on. Les Crucius, the most winningest person on the YouTubes. My man, what's happening? What is going on? Circumstances lovingly caress that like button as you come in. I like the way you put that. What is going on, Scotty? Hope you're doing good today. Fred the Shipping Guru. What's up? What's up? Mr. DJ Links. F Cancer. 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 All that. I appreciate that. All that. I like it. So Raider Nation, what is going on? Hello, hello. How's it going? Oregon Wime. Hope you're doing good. Dude, this is a bona fide badass right here. It's a community member putting up a good fight himself against the dreaded cancer. Bona fide badass. There's the fires. There's the fires. Digger Jim, what is going on? What's happening? Hope you're doing good. Dr. Von Hook, good to see you. Good to see you. I think we made it to the bottom. So let's just dive right into it. As there's like 2 weeks worth of comics to talk, we'll be definitely breezing over a lot of them because there's a lot to keep up with. And there's tons of news, tons and tons of news. Got a couple of things thrown in here already. So we're going to start at the top. And this is one that I'm not going to be too familiar with, but I did see this was posted by Felix Comicx Art, who is the art rep for countless people. And this is an image that he posted with Ryan Stegman's artwork. Looks like Ryan Stegman is going to be a huge artist attached to the X-Men rollout. They've officially announced the restart of X-Men. They're doing all this Fall of X, Death of X, Dead X-Men thing. They're getting ready to completely relaunch the X-Men for the third time in 5 years, I believe. And I'm sure this has to do with like the intentionally timing stuff up with bringing in new readers to coincide with movie stuff. That's just kind of the nature of things. But they announced 9 titles. We're going to restart X-Men, make it easy for new readers. Here's 9 titles.
Right. 3 of them have the word X-Men in the title. We have the Uncanny X-Men, what Gail Simone is writing. We have just X-Men. And we have Exceptional X-Men. Marvel can't get enough of adjectives. I found that out.
Yeah. Same thing with DC, though. Like they're fun sometimes. Sometimes. It's definitely more of a Marvel thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Superior, spectacular, amazing, incredible.
Spider-Man, Invincible, Iron Man, Mighty, Thor.
Superior.
Yeah, that's definitely one of their tropes. It's one of their fun tropes, but yeah, I think 9 is crazy. Like I know that some of these are going to be limited series. Well, I'm assuming some of these are going to be limited series, as like Jean Grey was announced, Storm was announced, X Factor was announced, NYX. Little girl clone Wolverine is getting her own title. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was absolutely curious about possibly jumping on and trying some X-Men. Whenever we get like new Marvel number ones, I give them a fair shot. I try to jump in and see what's what with them. And typically it's just a numbering gimmick, like 9 times out of 10. Like someone told me, like, you need to read Moon Knight. I'm like, bro, I jumped into Moon Knight. I dropped it. It was trash. It wasn't even a jump on point. No reason to be called number 1. Same thing happened with numerous Daredevil when you did like Devil's Reign. It's not a Daredevil number 1. The story never stopped. The refresh is just continuing. But X-Men, they're legitimately getting a fresh starting point here. So I'm like, yeah, I might try to jump on X-Men. It'd be a good time to see see if it feels right again, kind of thing. But 9 titles out the gate, all will be released by summertime. What's the point? For me, at least, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of. If you look at the poster, it does kind of seem as though they're going to have 3 separate teams, 3 separate X-Men teams. It'll be interesting.
Uncanny on the left, X-Men front and center, and then Exceptional on the right. And what's crazy, it looks like their main X-Men title is like the all right, this is me just looking at it through like classic lenses. It's kind of like the most boring team there, because you got like Nightcrawler, Jubilee, Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine on a team like screaming 90s right there with the Uncanny. Right. But dead center, you got just X-Men. You got Cyclops and Beast there with like Magic, some other characters. Like, is that Juggernaut with like an X on his helmet? And then Magneto floating in a chair. So
right.
Already looks weird. Then the Exceptional X-Men team, I don't even know what's going on with that.
Yeah,
White Queen on a Fantastic Car version of the Silver Surfer board or something. I don't know.
Yeah, poorly educated on the X-Men team, to be honest with you.
At this point, I am too. Like, there's most of my life I never felt like that, but at this point, most definitely after the last few years of how far the X-Men have gone. Wolverine, Gambit, Rogue, Uncanny. yo, like that. If I was going to pick one up, that's the one that's the most appealing to me. But there's no way I'm going to pick up one of them because you just know, like, because we're comic readers, we know like one. In this situation, it's not a one book thing, and like within 6 issues, they're going to be doing a story that part 1 is here, part 2 is there, part 3 is there, as they should do. But dude, out the gate, it just seems like a huge undertaking for a reader. And on that topic, real quick, we got the official checklist for Marvel's Blood Hunt dropped. All 58 titles. Yo, I'm not joking. Not joking at all. Like, thoughts on that one?
I'm kind of hoping that you can just get the main title and get the story that you need. You don't have to be jumping into all these other titles, because I would like to read the Blood Hunt main title. But I am not going to be getting 59 different comic books.
Now, I'll tell you this as well. Like, when it comes to the main title, I'm kind of intrigued, and not necessarily like just like, oh, I can't wait, this is going to be awesome. But this was pointed out to me a couple of months ago, and there's the actual God.
Right.
That's the checklist. It was pointed out to me by Paul and Matt at ABX that they're doing something special with this. They're going to be doing an R-rated cut, and I don't know if it's just.
They're called the Red Band. No, it's just the main title. I think each issue is going to have a Red Band issue.
So I think that might be fun. I think that Marvel and DC both are doing that gimmick this year, so I'm not mad at Marvel for that. I like the way that they're doing it in a separate book because, you know, this is main 616 titles that need to be accessible to kids and adults alike, you know? So I think that's an interesting approach to do a Red Band book, where DC was soliciting the General Zod book as like a bloodbath violent book, like kind of insinuating mature readers only. So I think that'll be a little interesting to check out. I don't know. It's got my curiosity. It seems like a good gimmick to me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, you know, more blood and guts, but also supposed to have additional artwork that isn't in the main issue.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting for sure. I don't know about the main story. I assume we're just doing Marvel versus vampires like we do DC versus vampires. Like who's gonna get bit is the whole tagline. Like everybody, right? Everybody's gonna get bit. You're gonna have to like kill some people, and by the end of it, you give them the magic holy water, and we're back to where we started. Everything's good. I have some nightmares for a few months, but they'll make it. They go to Sanctuary, talk their problems out, and they'll be fine.
I'd have more nightmares if I had to buy 59 comics.
Yeah, dude. Again, I like it's hard to knock them. Well, it isn't hard to knock them. That's crazy. I'm happy to knock DC about it too. The last time that they did something to that magnitude was Dark Knight's Death Metal, and that was actually a play-by-ear happenstance thing. They didn't go in planning to print all of them, but as readership was doing good, like, all right, we'll start doing the tie-ins. Do them.
Right.
Do them. They were actually it was unique too, in the sense that not a single one of those tie-ins were filler or skip me books. Every one of them were 100% needed for the story. It wasn't like the main titles in it. It was just like there's just that many chapters in the main title kind of thing. So I really enjoyed that aspect. But that was the only time I've seen that done. Normally it's not important like that. All right, so X-Men's that's a big questionable rollout. For me, I'm skipping it. I'll keep up with it vicariously through other people that say it's good no matter if it is or not. And then Blood Hunt, it is what it is. I'm investing all in on Absolute Power, obviously. If you're curious about keeping up with the DC event that you might not want to buy, be sure to follow Paul's channel. Every Monday we do the DC Comics deep dive over there, where we typically break down what's going on with the event books at DC. And Suicide Squad Dream Team 1 of 4 dropped this week with the countdown to Absolute Power. It's the first time we're seeing Absolute Power on a trade dress. It's cool getting a countdown Road to style book building into an event. And we actually recorded that video earlier, so it'll be going up at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So if you're not interested in investing into the event, you can still keep up with it and follow along through that video series that posts over there. I'm getting the Negative Space 1970s Blade book. Oh, I saw that with the green backsplash. That was pretty cool. I'm a sucker for green books. I too saw that cover, but unlike you, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it's one of the variants on issue 1, I think, of Blood Hunt, I believe.
I'm having to save all my schmeckles for car repairs right now.
Mm.
It's that whole living in the uncertainty. Like I know it's going to be over $1,300, but I don't know how much over. And
Oh.
still haven't finished up taxes for this year, so we'll. But I like to remind myself, money problems aren't real problems. They come with a solution. Make money.
Mm.
That's the solution. Make money. Like
Right.
might take you longer than you want, but it's still the solution, and it can only work out. It's the only option. Trev's going all in on absolute power. That's cool to hear. Make sure you check out that video series. Leave some comments over there. I'd like to hear some feedback along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Next up on this hit list here, so we mentioned it in a previous show, but Marvel is quietly axing projects left and right. And it's not just Marvel, it's Disney as a whole. Bob Iger he came in and he long story short, if you keep up with this stuff on a detailed level, dude literally said his company crapped the bed. We did all this stuff wrong. They put personal stuff over content. They put quantity over quality. They threw in the flag. They admitted their faults, and they're canceled Captain Marvel 3. They canceled Ant-Man 4, and the Eternals is on hold, which means it too is canceled. So that's just 3 that came out already. More are on the way.
Yeah, there's a rumor that they have shelved Armor Wars.
Oh yeah, that's that one with Riri, and there's one more. Was it? Golly, now I can't even remember. In a shocking turn of events, Agatha has been renamed.
I was just going to say that. Agatha has been renamed to just Agatha.
Yeah, it was Agatha all along. Actually fits for once, and this is like the 4th or 5th name change that it's undergone. Captain America: Brave New World is undergoing. It's like I don't know. It's in a bad way. Mm-hmm. I'll be surprised if we get to Secret Wars at this point, or if they don't just throw an audible and just let
And supposedly Avengers 5 no longer is the Kang Dynasty. The name, it's just Avengers 5 now, at least for a working title. It's
well,
just
they
Avengers
took the
5
Kang
now.
part out of it a couple of weeks ago when they fired Jonathan Majors, but this week they've officially, for the time being, just named it Avengers 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
They're going the Fast and Furious route. They shouldn't be able to fail now.
Mm-hmm.
Fast 5.
There you
Avengers.
Go.
Yeah, it's a winning formula.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the House of Mouse. This is it's going to be a weird latter half of this year and into next year because all of the fallout and effects of the timing from the strikes will start to sit in, as well as the responses to the negative box office numbers of 2023. That was the year of flops, all around. Like it was a massacre out there at the theaters.
Apparently, they did okay on their first batch of releasing some of the series on 4K and Blu-ray because they just announced a new batch this week: Falcon and Winter Soldier, Andor season 1, Obi-Wan are all going to be released on Blu-ray and 4K coming up at the end of next month.
Super telling, because this is something that we've been saying from the start of these streaming wars is pulling back from physical media will cost you dearly. And they were dead set on at the start of the streaming wars. None of this will be printed on physical media. You have to subscribe to get it. It's not a winning formula. And watch what happens coming soon. I'm like, soon is definitely relative, but it will happen when physical media starts outpacing digital releases, because that digital first thing is costing them dearly. I know they're wanting to drive a market to a digital format, but they're just really not. I don't even think it's too soon to do it. It's not. It's just that it's not a preferred. Like we don't like it. Like we've tried it. The sampling has happened. We've done it. It's not for me. There's still a huge aspect to collecting stuff and not. You got to be able to like cut the cord and still have your property. Like that's not it. Like there's no ownership in digital stuff, and people are feeling that. You know, it's just crazy. Like especially with the theatrical releases, they have to prioritize physical media again. And it's good to see that they're doing it. I'm gonna be interested to see how long it takes for a third wave, because it sounds like their second wave here is the stuff that wasn't necessarily as positively received. Andor, there's only two camps: the people that loved it and the people that couldn't finish it. Like there is no in the middle. And Falcon and Winter Soldier, people panned that one. That was the first one that really everyone's like, hit the brakes. What's happening here? And me personally, I loved it, minus the Falcon can't get alone and the literal soapboxing at the end that the terrorists were good guys. I'm like, yo, you can't erase the fact they just blew up a building full of women and children. Like that was, those two things were cringe, but I loved seeing Sam in like the super comic accurate suit. I thought that was really cool. And that's been my biggest thing. Like how they didn't rush him to front run the MCU makes zero sense. It was natural. He was there. It's like no matter how long he keeps the shield, that's the next step in the story that we're following, and they just ignored it. It's crazy. I'm awake against physical media. Bring back laser discs. There we go. I guess in a sense, even though I know that's the brand name, Blu-rays are laser discs. It requires discs and lasers. Streaming is the emperor's new clothes. It needs to go physical first so they can make money, then go to streaming. Exactly. Dude, in my mind, like streaming is just cable replacement. That's all it is. It's not some premium thing that you get like, ooh, get this and you get it first. No, it's just cable replacement. Go back to the old format. Go back to the old formula. Release it in theaters. Make us wait. Make us want it. Release it on physical media. Make us buy it because we want it. And then we've watched it on our physical media because we want it and everything. We shelf it. Then the time goes by. We see it's on TV. Oh, we'll just fire this up because we enjoyed it. You know, it was such a winning format that it worked for 40 something, 50 years nonstop. And they're like, look how good this works. Let's break it. Like that's
right.
Makes no sense.
And you know what? Some hackers may hack Amazon Prime and take it down, and I can't watch my stuff. But no one's going to hack my my Blu-ray player.
No, I sure haven't. I'm not mad at having more physical media options. Yeah, I don't think anyone is. We're only sad that they're going away. Mm-hmm. There we go. 29-month member milestone chat. Bring back the 8-track. He's gonna die on this hill.
There you go.
Like he's mad that when we were doing like like old things become cool again.
Mm-hmm.
He's mad that we're skipping the 8-track craze. I don't blame him.
Maybe Betamax
still has his 8-track collection. I'm not lying. It's in like, it looks like a briefcase, but it's built for 8-tracks. You open it, it's got the velvet lining and they slide in there, and he's got all these cool stickers on it that's been on there since like the early 80s and stuff. Nice. Bob's still got it. He ain't joking. He liked it. Just slam them in there. You have to do better, Senator. Blu-rays aren't 12-inch diameter. Neither are you, Scotty. Neither are you. But we're still friends. So the secret word of the day. Everyone start yelling like Pee Wee Herman. Cringe. I remember watching Airplane and Star Wars on Laserdisc. Yeah, that fantastic store that we have here called Dead Media, he gets Laserdiscs in pretty regularly.
For the longest time, that was the only way you could see Star Wars the way it was originally released into theaters, was on Laserdisc.
Yeah, dude, that was such a weird turn in that movie. I think like I was just like I enjoyed getting to see U.S. Agent. I enjoyed getting to see Sam. I've always liked watching Sam fly with that damn glider, like watching him like do tricks. Like ever since they did the Winter Soldier thing, I've loved watching Sam Wilson like act like. And Anthony Mackie is such a fun actor too, but the writing in the show made no sense, none, because he sure did kill a lot of terrorists in that opening scene.
Yeah.
I do think Marvel is doing a good job of curing my insomnia. That's fair. Super fair. But anyways, I hope we do see a good change. I miss my VHS. We still have 2 VHS players in this house and a collection of certain VHS that we weren't willing to let go of. And again, Dead Media has a massive VHS wall, and he's always rotating VHS.
You could even go one step further and go and add Betamax.
Here we go. Yeah, I got my first Betamax not long ago. I shared it on the channel, but I picked up the original King Kong.
That's Beta, or is that VHS?
This is Betamax.
Oh wow, nice.
Mira, how about Mira? Yeah, but what about it? Topo's only in there playing the drums for a second.
Yeah, but why do you have a big up and she has octopus legs on the hook.
That's just part of her dress. It looks pretty, doesn't it?
Yeah, but why does he have a different? And why is?
Because it's a special occasion. They're doing the Ring of Fire.
Why?
Because they're battling out for the leader who's going to be the leader of the throne. You better go watch. You're going to miss who it is. I'm also wondering why you got up to tell me about that.
I wonder.
You better go watch and see. That's the only way you'll know. I'm not telling you. No spoilers, homie. Whenever they watch Aquaman, they have a lot of excited questions. She was asking about Mira's dress. You remember the white dress with like the jellyfish things hanging on it? Sector, you don't know what kind of underwear he has on.
That's assuming. Never mind. You're making a big assumption there.
Yeah. All right. Next up on the list, yeah, Disney's in some interesting area, but it's good to see them making right calls or dumping franchises that, as viewers, I don't like. There's different kind of viewers out there. Some people can see trends and kind of gauge audiences better than other people. So it's easy for some people to look at Marvels and say that's going to fail, and people are like, you're just a hater. No, I'm just not. I'm just able to see the patterns and the trends. I pay different attention than people. And so it's good that Disney's actually doing that. They're not just because they can see this stuff too. It's crazy to think they don't know what these movies are going to do before they make them, kind of thing. But Eternals, and it's unfortunate with Ant-Man that it went down that route, but we'll see what else happens. I am happy to see the physical media thing, but moving over to Paramount, Paul, what is this?
Black Mirror. Black Mirror is an anthology type series that is. Do you know who the guy in the chair is?
Yeah, that's that actor that I'm like been infatuated with.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically a different episode. It's almost kind of like the Twilight Zone, but even a more twisted type. Not really twisted. But it was. It's different every episode, and that's why it's called Black Mirror, because there's a different story every episode. And they did one that was basically a take on Star Trek. It was almost more Star Trek than Star Trek was at the time, and so they did an episode of it, and so they're going to do a sequel to it because it really is probably the most famous of all the Black Mirror episodes that have been out there.
Yes, getting some chat reaction too. Marcus, Scotty, Jim, they thought it was great. Norman Rad thought it was great, but yeah, I saw that. It looks like Star Trek. Let me pull it up. But it has Jesse Plemons front and center right there. That is our generation's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can do anything, and when he's on, he's like, you just got to watch him. He was fantastic in Jungle Cruise as a crazy U-boat captain. He was awesome in Killers of the Flower Moon. He's just, whenever he's in a movie, like his performance is just stand out. But where does Black Mirror stream? Where can one?
It is on Netflix.
Netflix. I feel like I'm late to the party on that one. So let's see. Switch it up real quick. Boom. This was fantastic. This was actually very interesting to hear. I don't know who's keeping up with Dune other than everybody on the planet. But as of right now, it's looking at 500 million worldwide. The movie is considered a financial success. It crossed that barrier. So with the movies that have traction like this, Maverick, Avatar, other films, these aren't Marvel movies. They're not DC movies. You don't see everyone who's going to see it run out on weekend one and a 70% drop off to week two. They saw a 42% drop off to week two, which was amazing news. It's still chugging along. It's still getting great numbers, and it hit that $500 million mark. It only needed they're like the classic, formula was looking for 4 to 450 to be considered financially. Yay, we did it. And it's past that, and we're only like 3 weeks in, so that's killer news.
It fell even less percent from last week to this week than it did from week 1 to week 2.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's more than 200 now domestic and 494 worldwide.
Yes, 494.7. So it's moving good. Glad I got it. Dude, I'm glad you did too. I talked to him beforehand. He's like, I got to check showings, and if it's not a crowded theater, he's able to hit it. And I'm glad it worked out. It was an experience. I can't stress that enough. It's not very often we get films that are just absolute experiences that it necessitates IMAX or what are they called, like the GTX theaters and the similar ones with whatever theater brand you have in your area. They're large format show out screen. Go see it on that. But it's amazing, and to the point, it's filmed for IMAX. That's the kind of cameras that they use to format for those big screens. And the IMAX CEO in an interview actually came forward and said, "Yo, we had the best problem that we've ever had in our company's history. We ran out of screens to show it on. We were showing it on everything we can, and we could have used more if we had them," kind of thing. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. So that's pretty cool, considering that's not counting like all those alternative screens, like the GTX and the Dolby whatever.
Right, and a lot of movies aren't, not the entire movie is necessarily filmed for IMAX. Only certain portions of them are. But one thing I read is James Gunn said that Superman is being filmed entirely in IMAX.
Entirely, yeah. And you'll notice that more when you bring the film home and watch it, because it'll be on like anamorphic widescreen, which means like you'll have black bars at the top and bottom. But then there's moments when it fills your TV completely, and it tricks your brain. You're like, wait, were there black bars there a minute ago? And yeah, but I love that. Absolutely love it. Transformers: The Last Night is the best example of it, when they do like the helo drops with the little helicopters and come in on like the fractured Cybertron coming in. I'm like, dude, this is nuts. And watching it change perspectives just makes it feel huge. Even at home, it gives that feeling. It's cool. ID4 was a great memory waiting with my youth group, and a huge crowded. Everyone was hyped. I'm assuming that's Independence Day. ID4.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I do like going out to the theaters because of that shared experience too. But some people can't be around people sometimes, so it works out. So if y'all haven't seen Dune 2 yet, you still got time. I would love to go watch it again. I've watched it twice at this point, but I would love to go watch it again. But really, I'm prioritizing Godzilla versus Kong: The New Empire, which the TV spot started rolling out. If y'all do not want to see an absolute spoiler for this movie, this was shared in a TV spot in China. So what I'm about to show is not something that I have like some kind of secret knowledge of. It is out there that people that look for trailers can see. But if you're trying to avoid trailers, they showcased a Titan in a trailer there that we've all known is going to be there. They've already have the toys out, and it's even teased in the regular trailer that you saw. If you have a keen eye, you realize that Kong was blocking an ice breath versus like the atomic breath, and they showed the Titan Shimu that is shooting that breath in that scene. So I'm going to show it in 3, 2, 1, and it looks fantastic. The toy did it good justice, but it looks even better. The glowing spikes, massive. It was supposed to be the largest Titan we've seen yet, and it's most certainly living up to the hype. That is just wicked looking. It's supposed to be like the mother of all Titans kind of deal. Not that it gave birth to all Titans, but this is it. Anyone else get their tickets for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and GXK yet? I have not gotten Ghostbusters. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I'll be able to catch that as it releases. I seriously doubt it. But no. But Godzilla versus Kong, we're waiting to try to get some details about schedule and stuff. Finn started soccer back.
I did get my tickets for Godzilla versus Kong. I did that. So I'll be seeing that. Actually, I think I might be seeing it on Easter, actually. Easter afternoon, I think.
Which one, Ghostbusters?
No, Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Easter is super early this year.
Yeah.
It's not even in April.
Right.
Looks like Shimu was on a leash. Yeah, Scar King has Shimu tied up and under his control. Now, for me to say more than that, I'm getting into actual spoilers that are not included in just regular TV spots. I was hoping for Destroyer or Biollante. Nope. I will tell you now, you won't be seeing either one of them. For Legendary Pictures to use Toho properties, it costs them an arm and a leg. For us getting Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra all in King of the Monsters was a one-off almost. That's why Legendary is so great about creating their own Titans for the Monsterverse. Skrilla will be in this one, which you've seen before. It's the long-legged spider-esque thing, massive and huge. I did read Godzilla X Kong the Hunted, which is the official movie prequel that I backed on Kickstarter. I got the digital thing first, so it kind of shows you all the way up into the opening scene of Godzilla X Kong. But I will tell you this, Norm, don't lose hope that you will probably they're not showing you everything. I'll just leave it at that. They're not showing you everything. They don't ignore the fans. They know who the favorites are. And me personally, I want to see Anguirus. That just makes sense. Like the fact that's the first kaiju Godzilla fought. We need Anguirus, but Doug is in there. We are good. We are good. Doug, fan favorite, cult follower, showed on screen for like all of 2 seconds in Godzilla versus Kong and Hollow Earth, and people named it, dubbed it Doug, and it actually came out as a toy with Suko, the little baby Kong, and Doug is set to be in this movie. So we're getting Doug. They better not kill Doug. That's what they need to make sure they don't do. I think we're starting week 3 of the college spring break season. That's a long spring break. That kid will not stay in bed. All right, moving right along. You mentioned it, Superman, not Superman Legacy. Superman is being filmed entirely in IMAX, and not just that. We've been getting some set photos. They're filming. Obviously, the Fortress of Solitude is at play with some of the stuff they're filming. But we got the first look at the engineer.
Yep.
Do you have familiarity with this character outside of just the announcements? This character
no, other than she, as far as I know, she's appeared very briefly in any DC comic book.
Yeah, originally a character from the Authority that was printed under
Right.
Wildstorm, which was Jim Lee's university, eventually sold to DC Comics when he came over there. Not sure what this character does. Not sure what her gimmick is. She looks like a robot in the comics. So we'll see. We shall see. But it's cool seeing people smiling on set, having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see the suit. You know what I mean? Like I don't care about anything. I just want to see the suit.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's not smiling?
Who?
This guy.
Yeah.
This is something you don't hear said very much. Marvel Studios fires. That's crazy. So the showrunner for X-Men 97, the new animated series that premieres on the 20th, I believe. Somewhere around there.
Yeah, I believe so. Sometime this week.
Fired, not let go, not resigned, not went on to greener pastures. Fired, straight up fired from Marvel Studios. Well, baby. And that's not the end of it. Also, all social media was pulled down. The person vanished off the face of the earth. You never see that happen ever for Marvel. Also, all of the press appearances that were scheduled for the rollout and all that canceled, every bit of it. So this, hate to assume, hate to do any of that, but obviously this dude did something terrible, unforgivable. Bo has an OnlyFans account, had one for years before he was hired. It's something that was never a problem for Disney before. I don't believe it's a sexually explicit OnlyFans account. You know, not all OnlyFans is porn kind of thing, but
yeah, I read the same thing, that it was basically tame in comparison to everything else that you would.
Yeah, I don't think it was sexually explicit. But this is the same guy who wrote Moon Knight as well as other projects, been working with them for years. Crazy to see that he was fired. On the back of that, they did drop some actual video from the show. You get to see the X-Men team fighting some Sentinels. It looked pretty decent. I don't know why it doesn't have me excited, but it still looked pretty decent. So I hope it does some good stuff and make some people happy. I just don't see myself keeping up with it for whatever reason. I'm afraid to tarnish the fantastic memories I have of the show.
Yeah, I never watched it, although I do. Didn't Xavier died in the last episode, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so. What a post guest in chat. Hello to you, aggressively relaxing. So yeah, it's just one of the curiosity killed the cat kind of things. I'm so curious to see what comes out about why they fired him. There's got to be people actively trying to find out. Like, that's got to be like the biggest clickbait article that someone can fathom. If I can get that story right now, everyone will click on my article.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be super interesting. Switching to a successful animated project, Mario. been officially announced. We're getting a sequel to Chris Pratt's Super Mario Brothers. I don't know about y'all, but that's one that has been rewatched 1,000 times in this household. And Sonic 3, some news announcement dropped about Sonic 3 this week as well.
Right, and I think isn't the Knuckles series is coming to Paramount Plus pretty soon, right?
Yeah, with Idris Elba still attached as the voice of Knuckles. Yeah, that trailer's out and everything. My kids have watched Sonic 2 at least 20 times. I still haven't sat down and watched it from start to finish. I gotta get to that. What is Martin Day?
Mario Day.
I saw people putting up like on March 10th, everyone was celebrating Martin Day. Martin. I'm like, I don't know Martin. My bank card got hacked once, and whoever got my info was buying Chipotle and OnlyFans. Now talk about a winning combination for somebody.
Yeah.
That just screams depression. Body's gone. They already ruined Rogue's booty. Yeah, Professor X is believed to be dead by everyone on Earth, but only his X-Men and Magnus know he isn't dead. But on the Shi'ar's homeworld. Nice.
There you go.
Nice. What is going on, Comic Vet? How are you doing today? So what else hit? That's a laundry list of stuff right there. I'm sure you
James Gunn announced that they have because of who's available and all the writing and everything is being done, that Peacemaker 2 has been completely written now, and they're actually going to release Peacemaker 2 now before the Waller series.
That's so exciting but confusing at the same time. Exciting.
And although he at one point said that he had an explanation as to why the old Justice League would be at the end of season 1 of Peacemaker, now it's basically Peacemaker season 1 is no longer canon.
I'm afraid. All right. So I'm excited for the Superman movie. I'm so afraid of all these excessive announcements and stuff. I think you mentioned it, like when all this James Gunn stuff started popping. Like they needed to stop talking and make stuff. Just stop talking. Stop communicating with us. You don't have to answer every question. You don't have to tell us every time a fly farts in the office. Like just work. Mm-hmm. And to that point, despite having no less than 12 projects announced and slated for the DCU Gods and Monsters era, they've announced yet another one. Mm-hmm. Teen Titans was officially announced, live action. I don't know if it's supposed to be an HBO Max show. I don't know if it's supposed to be a movie. I'm not sure. I got this article here, this little post. Live action Teen Titans film in development. Anna Nogueira attached to write. Now, if you are not familiar with writer Anna Nogueira, have no fear. No one is. And that's just something that's got me concerned. She's a playwright. She's worked in writers' rooms on just a couple of other shows. She's wildly not qualified based on her resume to write a big cinematic blockbuster high-end production film. Not saying she can't do it, not saying she's not going to pull it off, but this is also the person whose script was chosen for Supergirl. To that point, it's a Tom King book that they're adapting, and Tom King is attached to it. Doesn't that make Tom King your writer? Like, then she's just like a screenplay adapter, which it just has me worried. It looks like this what we've seen at Marvel, where they just get affordable writers, and sometimes they're just kind of like doing like oh, Moon Knight is an Egyptian character. Our showrunners have to be Egyptian, and like how they do that kind of thing with stuff. I'm just hopefully it
is different writing a screenplay as opposed to writing. So basically, she's adapting his story. So she's the screenplay because she's writing the thing that's going to actually, be seen and be heard on the screen. Maybe Tom King doesn't. And maybe Tom King doesn't have any experience necessarily writing a screenplay because it is different.
Yeah, but I've read his books and they definitely play out like they're adaptable. Just to throw that, like there's some people that. Like James Patterson, if you read a James Patterson novel, it's clearly written with the intention of being easily adaptable. Like the pacing, the dramatic beats, the moments, and like that's why when I see like, oh, she's a playwright. Yo, writing a play is not the same as writing a television show, and it's not the same as
Right.
writing a movie. It has different beats, you have different builds, you have different style acts and stuff, and like it just, like we've seen some really good movies recently that like remind you why people with experience are so valuable, because they're good at what they do. That's how they got experience. They continue to get jobs and work. And I know you can't just hire all these really expensive writers and expensive directors when you have so many projects you have to fund. But it makes me think, why do we need so many projects? Like, why don't we do one right? Like, let's get one completely right. Let it be a huge success, and then decide on the next thing. It's okay to wait like 2 years between projects and stuff.
Yeah. And I would also argue that I think that probably writing for comics is probably to me anyway, and I'm not someone obviously who has done this, but it seems to me that it would be more easy to adapt to writing a movie from a comic book, because they're both very visual mediums.
Yeah.
That you have, for the lack of a better term, a huge canvas that you can work with, as opposed to a play where you basically, you can change the scenery behind you, but you're still kind of limited to, whatever, 20 by 15-foot space for the most part, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, and then there's also the aspect that like you got to keep in mind, if they're building a cinematic universe, which I would argue is got its pros and cons, you have to get people that aren't going to come in there. Like, you can't hire a Denis Villeneuve to come in there and think that you're going to tell him how to make his movie, because these writers and directors you bring in have to be completely open to the studio chair of Peter Safran and James Gunn telling them, all right, I need you to direct this movie for me, kind of thing, opposed to come in and give us your vision, like, because it does have to have, like, much like with comics having the editor-in-chief, like these movies now have editor-in-chiefs over them pretty much.
Right.
Like, you can do your movie, but these are the things that at the end of the movie have to still be canon to our universe, play inside of there, but you start here and it has to end this way. If you change other things outside of those parameters, fine. But comics are like Zack Snyder uses comics for storyboards. He did with 300. He's like, here's your movie. Bam. It's already drawn. Saved you a storyboard artist.
He did it with Watchmen.
Here's your comic. Boom.
Yeah.
That's your storyboard. Can't really beat it. Editing and lurking pimps and legends. Can you categorize us? Let us know who falls into which category, pimp or legend. Needs to know. But yeah, it's interesting stuff. Titans announced. God, that's Supergirl, Wonder Woman movie, Swamp Thing, Brave and the Bold, Superman, Creature Commandos, Waller, Peacemaker. And I know I'm missing some. Booster Gold, Green Lanterns, or the Lanterns. Like, what? That's so much, and that's all in like the Gods and Monsters phase. The DCU is off to a bad start already. They have too much going to be produced or already in the works. They need to slow things down, like the MCU started slowly, but then went off the rails. Yeah, I don't disagree. The MCU didn't start slowly by design. It was out of necessity, But as soon as they got a taste of that Disney money, they're like, rinse and repeat, and it didn't bode well. Did not bode well. See what Dur's talking about. Well, I have a hashtag shout out board I do every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Those are the legends. Rest y'all pimps. Nice. Yeah, I'm super curious to see how this all plays out. I'm definitely of the mindset of less is more with James Gunn, and we're just really not getting that whole feeling of less is more. In other news, something not so wonderful, Patty Jenkins came out in an interview and said that DC isn't interested in doing any more Wonder Woman for the time being. I know a lot of people in the short term are wondering if Gal Gadot would roll over into James Gunn's DCU, as we don't know who will or won't. We know Peacemaker is. We know Amanda Waller is, but that seems to be the only one so far that have not gotten some form of an axe. But Patty Jenkins said They're not looking to do it right now. We know that they announced the show, The Amazons, as an HBO Max show. So we'll see what they do with that.
She also announced, and if I missed this, I apologize, but she also announced that she is still intent on writing a Rogue Squadron Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, did she say she was intent on it, or that they're going back to that? Like, they got canceled.
Yeah.
Did they reopen the wound? Or
I guess
are
they're
just...
still interested in seeing what she may be able to come up with. She didn't say that it was a go or anything, but that she is still intent on writing it and presenting it to Disney.
We'll see. We will see. You know, she's batting 50-50 with me. That first Wonder Woman was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. That second Wonder Woman was subpar, but there's so many other factors that went into that one. Unfortunately, there's meddling that happened, and it happens unfortunately sometimes, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that any of the studios can do, but mostly Disney for the most part, because they're more is don't let Kathleen Kennedy or Kevin Feige or anybody, announce a project until you know it's going to actually go forward.
Yeah, dude, that's super damaging to the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, canceling projects that kills public eye, and like, dude, there's a lot of sway that the internet has on like these projects, because it builds that perception, and then it picks up and people run with it for better or worse. And canceling all these projects are just...
Plus, I don't really think I mean, for almost all of these projects, it takes probably a good 2 years from the time you write something to the time it's filmed to the time it's ready to be released somewhere, right? So, what's the point of announcing things 5-6 years in advance?
None. None whatsoever. It's really crazy if you ask me. I don't get it. But I saw that theory that went out there when Gunn first did that recorded announcement. Some people were like, yo, I think that they're just trying to run up the desirability of WB for a potential another selling or a secondary merger kind of thing. They're just doing like a presentation, like almost like a proof of concept for like potential buyers. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't see them selling again anytime soon, or I don't see any signs of them doing it. But that was kind of a troublesome little announcement.
Well,
Looks. Well, I don't know. You want to dive into some comics?
Sure.
I've got just a bunch of random books up here. I don't know what's from what week at this point, so I'm just going to start pulling and reviewing. I got Suicide Squad, the Kill Arkham Asylum, the official movie prequel, issue number 2. In this one, all your characters from the video game, the squad, are all prisoners at Arkham. And in this issue, all hell's breaking loose outside. The Justice League's nowhere to be found, and Waller opens all the cages. So all of these prisoners that have been being mistreated by guards, you get to see all the mistreatment. They come out and they just start going crazy, just waxing guards, fighting each other, working their way to slowly, like the ones that remain kind of deal. It was fun. If you're a Suicide Squad fan, this will not let you down. If you are interested in the video game, I'm sure it'd be interesting as well. I know the video game didn't land very well for people because they killed Batman and the Flash and Superman and Wonder Woman.
Well, it is right in the title of the video game, right?
And it went over everyone's head somehow.
Yeah.
Now, I will say I'm not invested in the Arkham universe video games like that. So for those that have followed that game franchise for a decade, to see it end with Harley just taking out like that had to hurt. But like, I'm a squad guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, well done, Harles. Yeah. I have not picked up any Rebel Moon figures yet. I fully intend to grab one of the Jimmy figures when I come across it. But tell you what I did do. I read Rebel Moon issue number 2, had a beautiful cover even by Daniel Warren Johnson. I love diving into these movie universe comics, and this was pretty good. Dude, after watching Dune and everything, there's so many more elements of other sci-fi stuff you see included in this world, with like the structure of all the political stuff and the Emperor, the Mother World in this case, coming down on the smaller planets and them trying to position themselves for survival, more or less. It's pretty wicked, pretty fun if you enjoy that kind of stuff, or just sci-fi stuff, it's still delivering on that front, if you ask me.
And part 2 is due in just a little over a month.
Yeah,
April
and if y'all
19th,
missed
I
it,
believe.
Zack Snyder did a 2-hour podcast with Joe Rogan, which was fantastic. For a long time, they're just shooting the breeze, talking about like making golf commercials, which was absolutely fun. But he does get into Rebel Moon and why the one that we've seen even exists. Like, if it felt fast, if it felt rushed, if it felt like there was a lot going on, it's because he never filmed a 2-hour movie. He didn't make a 2-hour cut. He just made his full length R-rated, hard R-rated cut. And after the fact, they wanted a PG-13 cut. They just wanted one. So he's like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. So like, drag it out, do what you want to do with it. But the actual, like, it's like a 4-hour, it's pretty much like a TV show length project that he did. And apparently it's ridiculously R-rated. And he's not like, this isn't like a slim down cut of my version. It's just like a separate movie. Having to cut it together to be that short is nothing the same. I cannot wait to, because I enjoyed the one that we saw. Thought it was fun, got me excited, but I can't wait to see how it all plays out. I'm almost hesitant to watch part 2 and just wait and watch it all, but I'm sure I won't. I'll definitely watch it.
He polarized a lot of people in that interview because he said that Batman needed to kill.
In some words, he did say that. He sure did give all the pop culture articles all the fuel they needed for a week. Yeah, he was talking about deconstruction of superheroes has been his most favorite part of comic books. When he first discovered Watchmen in the 80s, the concept of deconstructing superheroes hadn't been done like that before. So that got him. That he was at the right age for it, where that just has always been stuck in his head. So if you're going to take someone as popular as Batman and deconstruct him, the first thing that comes to my mind is what happens is he has to kill. Not that Batman should kill, not that he should be running around like Punisher. That was never what he said. But all these writers allow Batman to go by all these events without being put in a no-win situation. What if he is in a no-win situation? What does our hero look like through that situation and after that situation? And that's interesting to him. And I do like that makes perfect sense to me. Like, I'm not saying that means you need to reimagine Batman to our main Earth Zero Batman needs to be killing because he can't get around it all the time. But no, like, dude's been around for 80 years. Every now and then something's going to come up where he should have to deal with those demons. That's just another part of dealing with wearing the suit. I like that.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that he made that seemed to be what people took out of the interview more than almost anything else.
Yeah, they felt that he, like, people who didn't listen to the interview or just saw those clickbait articles without clicking on them. It's important to click the bait if you want the context. Like, he thinks Batman should kill. He didn't. No. I get it. I thought it was an interesting take on it. And dude, every one of us have had those conversations without Zack Snyder's opinion ever having to do with it. So it came to all of our minds, like, and there are comic books out there where Batman has taken people's lives, but they just like, God, it was like Detective Comics 600 and something. He literally goes in like it's a helicopter scene, and he gets the kidnapped princess kid out of the helicopter, and it like breaks it in the process of swooping in and out. And the next panel, it's blowing up right behind him. Like, bro, there was a pilot in there, but they don't mention it. They don't address it. The pilot's in there screaming as it's going down. Then the next panel is blowing up with Batman swinging away from an explosion. Like, bro, he just killed that man. Mm-hmm. He definitely did. I don't know. It's a weird thing to harp on. Like no other superhero is out there. No, don't kill no one. Like every 5 seconds. Like, they're not killing people because they're not bad guys. They don't have to say it to remind themselves. I don't know. Don't know. Paul, what's a book that you read that you enjoyed this past 2 weeks? Oh my God! Talk about it. Talk about it. This is this year we've been waiting on.
Yeah, exactly. We finally get to see exactly what's going on with Hal's ring. We get his buddy Tom Kamalku. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. We see the return of Tom Kamalku, who was one of the new Guardians from Millennium. Shout out to Brother John. And basically, we have a connection in some ways to Hal and the Green. And basically, he is part of the Green, and he creates. He actually did really create his own ring. There's a huge Owen power battery. If you remember at the end of the last episode, Madame Xanadu sent him on this trip to go to this place, and he'll find all the answers that he needs. When he goes in there, that's where he finds Tom, and he finds the Owen power battery. Um, and he basically creates a new ring again. Um, and he basically has control over it so that he can actually leave Earth as well now. And he's heading um, towards Oa.
Yeah, wants to go report to the United Planets to tell them
Yeah.
what's going on with all these power batteries exploding, and he runs into some trouble along the way, I'm sure. But I thought it was interesting going into the Green and finding this keeper of the Green that's been protecting this battery that's been hidden on Earth. And not only that, he shows this stand that comes up, and he gives Hal a real ring, and it shows him there are other rings, that this sector doesn't have extra Green Lanterns because it's just a crap sector. This sector has all these Green Lanterns because there's something unique
Right.
about this sector. And this isn't just a Green Lantern thing. This has been addressed numerous times. I mean, even in Doomsday Clock, Dr. Manhattan addressed it. The New 52 universe was created because of there's something about this. There's something about this Superman here. There's something about this world. It always comes back to this world. So the Guardians are smart enough to not just leave the battery, but leave extra rings because they know more Guardians from this sector will be needed. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
and it seems as though in the next upcoming issues we're going to be if you've noticed in some of the back issues and some of the backstories, they've had Kyle, they've had Joe, they've had all these different. They're going to be gathered now into the main story now because he meets up with Joe at the end of this particular issue. But we also see that Jessica Cruz is working with Joe as well in the backup story.
Yeah, she's working for the United Planets as one of the only ring slinger from Sector 2814 who's been down with their plan and to govern the way they see fit. But really, she's just a sleeper inside their ranks for Joe. Which next issue we're getting Guy Gardner, so that should be a blast. I highly enjoy that. Jeremy Adams is crushing it for sure. That's just getting revved up really good, and one came to an epic end this week. It was really sad to see it go, but Wesley Dodd's Sandman by Robert Vendetti, issue 6 came out, completing our first Golden Age miniseries out of the 3 we've been getting to wrap up. Had a classic battle against the good guy, bad guy, the trusted friend who stole his research, wanting to use it for his, I've been in war, I've seen war, we need this so our guys don't have to see war again. We're just going to slaughter the world so that we don't have to deal with it. Managed to stop him with the help of his dame. And and yeah, it ended with him getting his life back on track and some friends showing up at the end, and we get this great page where the rest of the JSA come to recruit Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, into their team. It was fun. It was great. If you missed this miniseries, give it a shot. It was delightful.
It really was. Great time period piece as well.
What is up, C Bizzle? How are you doing? Is this the DC Deep Dive? Kinda not. 10 a.m. Monday morning, Sector 2815. We're diving into Suicide Squad Dream Team issue number 1. The countdown to absolute power has begun.
Yes.
What's another one you got, Paul?
I don't know if you read this one, but
I definitely didn't. Oh, Batman Dylan Dog. I did not. Is that a Magnolia cover as well?
No, it is written by the guy who does the interior art. I would butcher his name if I tried to say it. So
I do like the Brandon Routh Dylan Dog movie.
Mm-hmm. This is this is only $4.99, and it is probably like 80 pages too. So you definitely get your money's worth on this.
Is it a one shot?
No. Nope.
What's the premise? What's it hitting on?
We have there is this person that Dylan Dog has and Joker have in common. Zabados, I believe his name was. I'm sure I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong.
Barbados?
Nope. It begins with an X. So that's why I said like Zabados or whatever.
Gotcha.
Dylan Dog and Joker have both encountered him. He is back, even though he was assumed dead at one point. Batman is trying to find him. He thinks that Dylan Dog knows where he is, so they're teaming up to try to find him. And the Joker is out there as well. It jumps through time. Goes back to when Dylan Dog first was captured by this person, and then managed to escape from him. And it also kind of jumps to the point when the Joker first started out, and you almost get the feeling from Batman '89 with the Joker in the if you remember. You had Jack Nicholson in the dental chair where the guy's putting the
The
thing around him.
bandages.
Yeah, exactly. So he's in a dental chair in here as well, and he's talking about his face and everything. So you kind of get that impression at parts as well. So
Who the F is Dylan Dog, says Tate Prime. He's kind of like a Constantine-esque character, but instead of being like a smoking spell casting B word, he's a private detective,
right,
dealing with the supernaturals and stuff.
Right. And so, like I said, I mean, it's a really quick read. There's sometimes, just only one word balloon, if even that, to some panels. So it goes by, you can get through it really quick. But I breezed through it and I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to issue number 2.
Yeah, I was on the fence about that one. I don't know what it was that made me skip it. I don't know. I wasn't even aware that it was coming out until I was looking like the week before at like the releases. Might check it out. One that I don't know if you picked up or not is Ghost Rider Final Vengeance issue number 1. Benjamin Percy is back. He didn't really go far. Again, another one of those situations where they're really starting a new era, or they just dropping it to number 1. Well, they're starting a new era. Clean slate here. It's definitely continuing from the last run, but you don't need the last run to read this run. Starts out with Johnny Blaze. You kind of get a narrator bubble perspective from the vengeance ghost inside of itself, talking about how Johnny made a deal with Mephisto, but I made a deal with Johnny, and he's always never been afraid. He's always embraced the writer, but he's always pushed back, and he's always wanted more control, blah, blah, blah. We need a new host. And he leaves Johnny Blaze in the midst of him going into like this tunnel of death to fight this entity that's in there. So leaves Johnny high and dry in there. And that's where we leave Johnny for the whole story. Then the entire book is just the spirit of vengeance going through the world. Like as it's going through the world, like these kids would be outside of a drive-in, kind of hanging out, and it would come through and their heads would all light up on fire, and it would pass, and they'd all hit the ground exhausted and wondering if they're all alive, kind of thing. But it keeps going through different heroes, different villains, all around for brief little moments, panel or two, until at the end it finally settles on who it wants, someone who's already a corrupted soul who has no qualms with leaning into what vengeance really is, and that's none other than the Hood, who's a supernatural-esque two-gun wielding Parker who wears a red hood. Had a couple of limited series some times ago, but it was pretty cool, and it features the first appearance of the new Ghost Rider, which will be the Hood. So there's that. I did pick up the Textera cover for myself because I love variants that tend to not be worth a lot, but that's the Ghost Rider guy for me. And this first appearance, the A cover, which is typically the go-to, first appearance of Red Hood Ghost Rider, will be thrown in the Legion loot box, so that'll be included in there, which, if y'all remember, I announced will be Ghost Machine themed. So if you're on board with the Ghost Machine, you'll be excited. If you're getting geared up for the upcoming Ghost Machine Day on April 3rd, we'll have you covered. We'll be sending you the first appearance starter pack. We're gonna ride or die for Ghost Machine. I'm telling you all that now. Like, can't wait. Might be doing a Ghost Machine deep dive.
There you go. Hey, you know what? My LCS is actually you get the first issue free of all 3 of those issues that come out on April 1st.
Oh,
April
awesome.
3rd. Yeah.
I wonder if that's because they the surprise thing that they did with Ghost Machine number 1, the 64-page one-shot.
Yeah.
Like if you ordered 20, they sent you 40 because they wanted you to get these out there to read. I wonder if they're doing that what is that called? There's a term for it. Becker told me what the term was not long ago. Oh, good point. The Hood was supposed to be in the Ironheart show. Yeah, I even saw set photos. He was played by the same actor who played Noah in Transformers: Rise of the Beast, I believe.
Yeah, I just call it that they overshipped them.
Yeah, that's close. It's got to be accurate. All right, Paul, what's one that you're reading? You're next. Hey! So for those that don't know, this is Action Comics 1063, the third issue written by Jason Aaron and the final issue of Action Comics written by Jason Aaron.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you. I was very excited to read that Jason Aaron was going to write a story, but as the story went on, I actually became more excited to see the art by John Timms.
Yes, like from the moment I got into like the third page of the first issue we did, I'm like, I'm here for John Timms. Just keep him on this title forever.
Right. I don't know who is doing the art next with Joshua Williamson, but House of Brainiac. So they're doing. For those of you who don't know, they have the Superman Superstars is on the little trade dress. They're doing 4 3-issue story arcs throughout the year, and Jason Aaron wrote the first one. Joshua Williamson is writing the second one. It's called House of Brainiac. I believe Mark Waid is writing the third one. Maybe it will tie in. I'm thinking it might tie in with Absolute Power. That would actually be perfect, wouldn't it? So he may be doing the third one, but Mark Waid is doing the third one, and they didn't announce who was doing the fourth one. But 2024 is the
Fandom is on the next issue, by the way, for art.
So they're doing Superman Superstars throughout the year. So
yeah, and the next Action Comics will have the House of Brainiac brand across the top. The strip, it's trade dressed out now.
Okay.
I have a Brainiac triangle with 1 in it, so I'm assuming that will go across the Superman title, so you can track what part it's in.
Yeah,
and if you're not tracking that, you know who will be tracking it? Over on the DC Comics Deep Dive. So
yeah. Because House of Brainiac is not just in Action Comics. It's going to be in Superman. It's going to have its own special. It's going to cross over into Power Girl, I believe, as well.
And it's going to be mad important for Absolute Power.
Right.
It's not. But we were curious and talking about it before the solicitations go up and they're just blank covers. They're just virgin covers, and then the trade dresses get added. We were kind of curious if they was going to get a countdown to Absolute Power on it, because this House of Brainiac thing is going to introduce Queen Brainiac.
Right.
And Queen Brainiac is a major player in Absolute Power. So at some point, the super titles are going to be, like, officially or unofficially, their countdown to Absolute Power stuff. So we'll be covering it.
Right. Absolutely.
We shall. Did you read Transformers number 6? Oh, wait, before we do that, what do you think of the Brainiac story?
It was okay. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be with Jason Aaron. I mean, the whole, as I expected, like the last 3 pages was the whole building up Superman, because Superman is Superman and he does what he does because he is Superman type of a thing. And
better have that in there.
Exactly, because that's the way you end a story. If this is your one shot at writing Superman, that's the way you end it. By building up and saying, he does this because that's who he is. He's Superman type of a thing.
Yeah. That's kind of like what Tom King did with that last issue of Wonder Woman. If you think about it, through the voice of the Sovereign, like we've hit the wall. We have no way to describe or understand why they do what they do, other than that's just who they are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's how a superhero is supposed to be, in my mind. That's why Superman's the best. I thought it was a good ending. Like the whole concept was everyone was infected and everyone was Bizarro. Superman was fighting it to his core, and this was a fun battle, watching him try to outwit himself in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he ended up having to do to clear his mind. And it looks like somewhere deep down inside of there, he still has that Bizarro in there. Whether it's a actual piece of Bizarro still in there, or if it's just like Bizarro is me looking at like what I could put, like a possible terrible version of me. We're always capable of that. It's important not to become that, and hopefully I never will, because I'm Superman.
Right.
But it played out well. I enjoyed it. Bizarro is a hard character to do these days, I think, because I don't know. There's only one dimension to him. I think they did a good job creating another dimension to him, with like the whole, like he lost his world and he's like you almost got a sense of like the longing, but it's hard to really convey that with how everything's opposite with him.
Right.
So you kind of get lost in that sometimes. They just need to asterisk it, like Bizarro talks backwards, and then for the rest of the comic, just write it in normal words. It's implied that he's saying it backwards. We don't.
You just don't like people talking backwards.
Well, we don't have to. We shouldn't have to try to decipher books as we're reading them. That's what writer's notes are for. Zatanna casts spells by speaking in reverse. So every time you see her cast a spell, just put an asterisk by it, and we know she said it backwards. I'm so mad there's a Zatanna Black Label book coming, and I love Zatanna. I love the DC Magic stuff. I can't wait for that book, and I know it's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to rip the top of this desk off trying to read backwards. I'm going to get the mirror. Who is it, Pops or you or somebody's like, dude, just get a little mirror and just have it for when you're reading Zatanna books. I just like, I'm a big thing about like the flow of a book. Like when it comes to like me like rating how good it is, that's something that I think needs to be like equated. Like how well did this flow from the reading experience to following the panel to panel progression and how those two things connect. If you have to stop, if you have to literally read and you're like escaped, you're in the world, you're like, what's next? Wait, what does that say? What, like you come out of it. Like I don't like being drug out of my hallucination. I like to stay in my hallucination.
Right. Well, I mean, and I get your point, right? You're hearing Zatanna's voice until it comes to her backwards words, and then you're hearing your voice saying, "What the hell does this say?"
Yeah. Wait, what? I feel like Shazam 1 when Captain Marvel and Dr. Silva were like above the city across from each other, and Silva's monologuing, and Captain Marvel goes, "Wait, what?" Because he couldn't hear that. That's exactly how I feel. All right, Transformers 6 dropped this week. Big issue, important issue. Issue number 6, Daniel Warren Johnson's last issue as interior artist. You know he was going to bring it. He's been writing this as a 6-issue story arc, and it delivered. It delivered so well. In the last issue, Devastator was constructed and sent after the Autobots. And this issue, Optimus is like the leader that he is, man. He's just fighting and fighting and fighting, and it's a battle by the arc and everything. And Spike's dad, I think it's Spike's dad, Sparkplug or something like that. The auto part right there, the dad. Like their Optimus is down, he can't go on. He opens his chest. He's like, take the Matrix, give it to whoever needs to come next. And we did something we've never done before. We have the dad who has these memories of losing his son to war and not being able to save him. And he has another son, a younger son here, who's going to die. He's like, I'm not going to let this happen twice. Tell him I love him. And he literally steps into the Matrix to take his life force and put it in there to boost it back up, to give it enough juice to get Optimus back on his feet. And boy, does he get back on his feet. He gets back on his feet and does work. It was a great issue. Bunch of characters. Can't wait to see where it goes from here. New artist stepping in with the next one. You can go check out Skybound, their Instagram or their social media in general, and see some of the preview pages for the next issue. The artwork fits, it matches. It looks like Transformers. It's not a hard turn from Daniel Warren Johnson. He will be continuing to write it. And if I had to pick one or the other, you want DWJ on the art or writing? 10 out of 10 times I will say writing, because he's a phenomenal artist, but he's an even better storyteller. So as long as we get an artist that can work well with him, that can like take his like translate well, even halfway decent, like Allstate, we're in good hands. You know the song. Yeah. It was such a great issue. So many hell yeah moments. And I believe that's one of your mail-in ones, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta let us know what you think when you read it. What an issue. I'm excited to see him at Heroes Con. He's there every year. I know last year, man, was ahead of we were present at Heroes Con during the explosion, the front end of the Daniel Warren Johnson explosion. I believe it was the week before Heroes Con was the official Transformers announcement kind of thing. Some people knew ahead of time. Some of us knew. I took some stuff with me to get signed. The big Energon Universe poster that came out with like the first, like one of the first Daniel Warren Johnson rollout arts. I got him to sign that. Got him to the first ever Optimus Primal that he drew in his life is sitting behind me in my collection now. So now I'm thinking, like, because Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong number 6 comes out Tuesday.
Mhm.
The 1 in 25 variant is by Daniel Warren Johnson. I'm like, now I'm thinking, because I fully intend to get in that little exclusive 10-person line and get another piece done by him. I fully intend to fight for that. And now I'm wondering what MonsterVerse characters he's never drawn in his life.
Mm.
I think
I
that would
think
be.
I think I heard that CGC is putting some rules in place for when they go to Heroes Con because of you guys.
Tell me more. Dude, they loved us there.
I
They
know.
didn't day 1, but by day 3, dude, they would hear us coming. They would start smiling. They loved us.
Yep.
But I can understand rules might be appropriate. We're gonna break them, but I can understand they might want to put them in place. Dude, we had such a good time. I still have my little pins over here. It was just fun. The CGC crew that was working Heroes Con, like, I can't say enough good stuff about them. They were fantastic people, great ambassadors for their company and for the hobby.
Mhm.
Yeah. People might not like this and that about CGC, but you can't say one bad thing about a single employee that was there representing that company that day or that weekend. Right. Fantastic folks. You got another one, Paul?
I think I actually am done. I forgot to bring last week's.
Did you read Kneel Before Zod last week?
I did.
That was interesting, right?
Yeah.
The Kuns, they're there battling. Feora slapped around Zod, said, "Get with it. You're not your normal violent self. Why are you letting these people run roughshod around this place?" And they get out there and start battling. And in the midst of the battle, Feora dies. They shoot missiles into the sun, causing it to turn red, killing the Kryptonians' powers. And they weren't fast enough on their feet to take Zod out before it came back, but they did manage to put like 6 spears in Feora and leave her for dead.
Ursa, yep.
Ursa, yeah. I'm sorry, I get the Man of Steel confused with the comics. Yeah, Ursa. So she's dead. So I'm staying because I think we're about to get a raged out Zod.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. He is the last panel. He is basically cradling a dead Ursa in his arms. So.
Yeah. So Death of Ursa, key comic, Kneel Before Zod, issue number 3.
Yep.
Now, I was curious if he was going to be the one to kill her after her back talking him, but no, it doesn't bode well for anyone who's left around. That's for sure.
Not at all.
I wonder what his son's going to do inside of the Super Son title or Sinister Sons title when he finds out that his mother's dead. That's another
Good point.
implication. Yep. If that book continues, because didn't Peter J. Tomasi start that book?
Yes. Yep.
Doubt he'll finish it.
Yeah.
Hope he finished it before he moved on.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I mean, are they all exclusives, or are they all just, you know what? They can't do any creator, or they can't do any company owned work for anybody else. Work for hire.
They went exclusive.
Because I know like Brian Hitch is still doing covers for Marvel.
Unless that's stuff that was like beforehand kind of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's doing the Ultimates cover number 1. He's doing a cover for them at the beginning. And that doesn't come out until June, I think. So
I don't know. I hope we get the opportunity to find out more.
That would be nice,
wouldn't it? Despite Jonathan Majors firing, Kang remains the main villain for Avengers 5 and will appear in Secret Wars alongside another major villain. Which villain would you like to... Where does this come from? Via Daniel RPK. I'm not listening to that. They got to do something with Kang, but we'll see. Recast. Keep moving. All right. I got two more. First off, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return, written by Amy Jo Johnson. I screamed the praises of issue 1 when it came out. Screaming these even louder. I'm not going to get into it because none of y'all really care. But if you have ever been a fan of this show, if attached to the original cast and crew, this is a love letter that Amy Jo is getting off her chest. She's lost a lot of friends along the years, as a lot of people have. But this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. I summed up the first one before, but You get a big flashback in this one, and you get to see how some of the Rangers fell in this story. It's a 4-issue miniseries that is only like you have the original show and you have this series. You don't need the context of you need the canon of the other comic stuff. Fantastic, like had me all emotional, all of my feels. It was something. It was something. Cliff said, "I care. I love the first issue." Yeah, it was absolutely something. The whole flashback was an epic moon battle with the Rangers just bombarding the Rita and Zed's outpost on the moon because they successfully killed Zordon and Alpha. So the Rangers were coming for them, and they had a bomb that can knock out all the dark energy that's fueling them. And in the process of it, the Kimberly and Tommy, Green and Pink Ranger, were inside the base while the other Rangers were fighting the monsters outside with their Zords. Rita catches them trying to set the bomb. Fight breaks out. Bomb gets broken. The remote trigger on it gets damaged. Rita's about to take out Tommy, and a pink arrow just goes straight through her chest. Kimberly Hart killed Rita, which is a thing in itself because, like Batman, they're not meant to kill, which is weird because they kill a monster in every single episode of the show that ever existed. But I guess they're not real people, the monsters. Rita and Zed are. The other things are just clay creations animated. But it was wild. It was so good. Tommy stays behind, sets the bomb off. And like the first issue ended with Trini's kid coming looking for counsel from her mom's old best friend, Kim. Turns out she's a bad guy. She was just goading Kim to get her morpher out. She goes all Rita looking and attacks Kimberly. And about that time, a car pulls up out front, and they're assuming that it's Kimberly's new husband or whatever. And in comes Kimberly's daughter, who's rocking a green jacket with pink trim because it's Kim and Tommy's daughter. I'm like, Jesus, so many emotions. It was awesome. Eddie says my buddy was encouraging me yesterday to read some Power Ranger comics. I never realized how expansive the universe is. Dude, it is. I've been a Power Ranger fan my entire life. Never. Just sits down here like right out of sight. Never waning. And when Boom picked up the Power Rangers and stuff, I'm on it on like Donkey Kong. I absolutely loved it. It's massive. Just go back and buy the collected edition for the Shattered Grid storyline. Read that and see if you want to read more. I guarantee you will. Last book for this week I got is Avengers Twilight issue number 4.
I did read that as well. Yep.
Holy crap. This is so good. Man, like it makes me mad about the rest of the Marvel titles. Like, really? I can do this? Like, come on. Thor showed up at the end of the last issue, saving the day. The battle continues in this issue with Thor, Captain America, Miss Marvel fighting at the raft, trying to save everybody they can just so that they can extract what's left of Tony and get him out of the possession of the bad guys. They managed to get him out of there, and in the meantime, they devise a plan to go stop the current working Avengers. Like the bad guys who have been revealed to be the Red Skull and Iron Man's son have their own active Avengers team, which is who knows who in suits going out this and that. So they storm the Avengers mansion. They make their way inside secretly, only to find out that there's actually not a team. It's all just a computer gimmick, like fake news reports, holograms that they project on TVs to make people think that there's an Avengers team out there saving and doing good. And it was all a trap by the Red Skull, who reveals himself to our old heroes and blows up the mansion. Everyone survives. I thought we were going to lose Tony Stark, but we didn't. And now it ends with the Red Skull revealing himself truly to Iron Man's son, claiming to be the real father of young James and putting on an armored suit saying, "We're taking the country now." So it's so damn good. Bro, that Thor entrance at the end of the last issue, I was like, oh my God. All hope seemed lost in the lightning bolt. Just,
yep.
I loved how remorseful Thor was. Like, dude, I'm so sorry that I wasn't here for these years. You like as an immortal, time is still hurtful to me too in a different way. You know why? Like it hit a point where it was hurting me to see the ones I love in the state that they're in, at the age that they're in, falling. I had to go live my life a little bit instead of watching it die in front of me. And all that, dude, it was so good. I love his costume. I love the way that his helmet is. It looks so Norse in this. Like it's just, oh, Captain America is that dude. He is that dude. So fun. I just don't understand why they put Tony in the robot. You just like stay at the house, just send his robot. Like, I have all these robot drones that his son was using already, like send a drone, like pilot it from home. But no, he puts his head in a robot and he goes for it. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, you got anything else for tonight? It's 10 o'clock. Don't want to keep everybody forever.
No, just at the last episode of season 2 of Halo debuted this past week, and the first part of part 2 of Invincible came out this week as well.
Nice. And I just watched season 1 of Silo on Apple TV, right, starring Rebecca Ferguson. That was 9.5 out of 10. Super green show. 10 episodes. Go watch it. Can't miss it. I fell off on Invincible. Halo, I watched episode 1 of season 1. I heard nothing but amazing stuff from season 2 from like noobs and gamers alike. They're loving season 2. So I got to get caught up on that, I guess. It's something to watch now. Something to watch. But I'll definitely check it out tomorrow. I've got a video dropping talking about slabbing stuff. Also in that video is the featured slab that'll be going in this Legion loot. This month's Legion loot is unboxed on that video. If you're a channel member, it's been available to you. Otherwise, it'll be available tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So be sure to check that out. Got some cool stuff. And there's some cool, unique slabs as well that you can truly slab anything. But other than that, vlog drops every Wednesday at morning time. My comic vlog drops, which is just a random hodgepodge of whatever's going on that week in the life of collecting comics in this household. And then don't forget, every Tuesday midday is the new DC Day stream where we talk new DC comics for that week and run the weekly giveaway for that. And then Friday mornings is the Legion Lair where we just kind of hang out with the community and talk pop culture, whatever comes up. So that's going to do it for tonight. Be sure to check out Sector 2815 tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If you haven't already, be sure to go over and head over to his channel, subscribe to his channel. Let's get him some subscribies. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.
Is that it? Is that all you got?